welcome back, guys, from your break. Ready for the next session now. So we've had our Speed Meet interactive session, but now we're going to be looking and speaking and hearing and speaking to Serco. So looking at the health facilities, careers and apprenticeships and hearing from them. So again, guys, as always, if you do have any questions in this session, please do pop them in the chat box and we will make sure that we come to them at the end, if not throughout the session. But I'm now going to hand over to Serco and our speakers that are with us today. So over to you guys. Hi, Nathan. Hi, Lewis. Hi, George. And hi, Will.
Thank you so much, Catherine. It sounds like everyone on the call has had a really insightful day so far, and hopefully some more information to follow later on in the day. So, and also I'm looking at the chat and lots of engaging people, which is always good to see. I've done some presentations to some universities, and I don't get as much engagement in the chat as I can see today. So hopefully this will be really, really informative to share with you. From the information that you all told yesterday, this is the non-clinical opportunities that you can explore, and I've got just move on to the next slide. Thanks, Catherine. So I'm joined by George Cooney, who's the contract director at Great Western, Will Moran, who's the head of estates for facilities management delivery, and myself and Lewis, also on the call. We sit within early careers within the recruitment team here at Serco, supporting with all the early careers into new apprentices into the business, and supporting young people into new jobs. We understand that for some of you these will be your first roles that you'll have, and it is very daunting. Some of you might not have had interviews in the past, and may not know much about the world of work. So hopefully everyone, myself included, and Gracie and Catherine can really facilitate and support that throughout today. So I will just pass over briefly to George and Will just for them to introduce themselves in a little more detail, and then we'll move on to who we are as a business.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. I'm George, the Contracts Director here at Great Western Hospital, Swindon for Serco, and I've been with Serco here for just short of 18 months.
Will Moran. I'm lucky enough to have experienced coming through an apprenticeship myself, not with Serco, but many years ago in the local area around Rutherford Labs. Did an electrical engineering apprenticeship, so really familiar with the stage of life you guys are at and the options that you have to choose from. Whether you go to university, whether you take the option of going down the apprenticeship route, and or whether you start a career and build up that career through an entry-level role and hard work and proving yourself. So happy to take any questions from my first-hand experience as well, coming through a similar route that you guys may be looking at.
Thanks, Will. And Lewis, are you on the call? Just to double check, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Lewis. I work alongside Nate as an early careers coordinator, and just like Nate said, really, we're working on getting young people and anyone into apprenticeships. Apprenticeships aren't just for school leavers, they're for anyone who's looking to change or to upskill. There's plenty of opportunities here at Serco.
Thank you. Yeah, so I've been with Serco about 2 years now, and recently moved into early careers. Serco, who are we? I didn't really understand us, and it took me probably a month or so to really understand the complexity of our business. So I'll try and make it as simple as I can, but if anyone has any questions, please do use the chat box to ask any questions or to seek clarity. So we are a business that is spread across 20 countries. We're across 4 regions. So we're split across North America, mainly in Canada, UK and Europe, Asia Pacific, including Australia, and also the Middle East, which we do some work in as well. So who are we? We're a trusted partner of government. We deliver vital public services such as hospitals, prisons, anything that serves the public and citizens within any country that we serve. So we're split across 5 core sectors, which I'll go into in a moment. Our key values are trust, care, innovation, and pride. And just as a rough figure, we've got about 50,000 people who work for us globally, and about 25 to 30,000 of those individuals work for us in the UK. Next slide, please, Catherine. Thank you. So as I said, we're split across 5 sectors, although there are 6 on this slide. So just to run through them, citizen services, we run a lot of dustbin collections in environmental waste services down in the south. Contact centres, we were involved with the track and trace and the testing centres this year. Parking enforcement, employment services, Boris Bikes in London. It is a real never-ending list of contracts that we support on behalf of our government partners. Within our defence business, we run RAF bases up and down the country, defence academies, and also maritime services as well. Justice immigration, justice immigration, we run a number of prisons and also transport prisoners from court to prison or prison to court. That's mainly down the south. You might see on the news maybe some high profile criminal cases where photographers are trying to take pictures through the windows of vans. Sometimes those vans are run by Serco. So we support the government in moving those prisoners from court to prison and prison to court. It's a complex business within our justice immigration. It really is not as simple as just putting somebody in a van and moving them. There's a whole, health and mental well-being side of it, a safety side of it, both for our the custody officers that move people from prison to court, and also the safety of the detainees themselves. Then we've got transport, which is our Boris Bikes, the Merseyrail in Liverpool, the Northlink ferries that take public individuals from the Scottish Highlands to the Scottish Islands, and the Caledonian Sleeper, which is an overnight train which we run from Scotland to London and London to Scotland. And then finally, obviously our healthcare business, which is why we're all here today. It's a facilities management business. We run, I might be wrong, I think well over 10 hospitals. I think it's about 15 across the UK, but don't quote me on that. We really do include some great innovation within our hospitals as well. One of our hospitals, Milton Keynes, we've got an underground network of robots that move products, cleaning products and portering products around the hospital underground. So there's a huge amount of innovation that goes into the contracts that we run, but you'll hear about more of the services in the hospitals that we run later in this presentation. Thank you. So our values are embedded across our business. We really do live out our values, and everyone who works for us, those 25 to 30,000 individuals, really do live out our values while delivering these public services every day. It's something that we take into account when hiring individuals into the business and new talent. It is really important that everyone lives out our values. So the first one is trust. We work hard to earn trust from our customers, namely the government, delivering on our promises to these government partners that we serve and serve globally. We don't just serve the UK government. As I said, we serve the Middle East governments and some governments in Asia Pacific. We care deeply about the services that we provide and the communities that we serve, whether it's our frontline staff serving a meal to a patient in a hospital, or a prisoner who's being escorted to court. We delivering these public services with care and pride is really important to us. I've touched upon it already. Innovation is really key in our business. To be innovative and bring new technologies and new ways of working is really important, obviously, to make it more efficient, whether it be safety or cost or saving time, to make sure that the services that we deliver are efficient and timely efficient. And also obviously adding value into the delivery of the services. And then finally, pride. Everything we do, we take pride in. It is really meaningful and vital work. So everyone who works at Serco really delivers it with energy and enthusiasm across the business. Did say if anyone's got any questions, please do feel free to use the chat, so we can get those answers. I'm going to hand over to Lewis. And he's going to talk through our apprenticeship opportunities. Thank you.
Hi, so at Serco, we're a business built on people, and we actually offer a range of apprenticeships. So there is something out there for everyone. Our apprenticeships are open to everyone over the age of 16 who meet the academic requirements that we have. So within our apprenticeships, it kind of ties in with our values. We've got a wide range of things that we can offer you. So one such thing is meaningful and vital work. So as one of our apprentices, you'll also be developing the critical and specialised skills that you need to build your career, and to support us to deliver the excellent public services that the UK relies on. Within that, we've got a world of opportunity. So as Nate covered, Serco is huge and there's no end of opportunity here. So you'll not only get a great mix of on-the-job experience and classroom-based learning that you would expect with an apprenticeship, but you'll also be at a company that's committed to ongoing development and opportunity. So many of our apprentices actually go on to complete other apprenticeships or professional qualifications to really support their career and then to grow within Serco. Furthermore, we've got great people, so everyone has an important role to play, from caring to the vulnerable to managing complex public services. Our team of more than 30,000 people in the UK take pride in what they do, and we think that's really, really important. So as an apprentice, what this means for you is that you'll have an ability to make a real positive difference and to people's lives and to the team that you're actually working with. So this all ties into what aligns with our apprentices. So I'll now hand over to Will to discuss our facilities management across the UK.
Yeah, so this slide basically shows all of the hospital campuses we have across the UK. So Nathan wasn't far out. The 15 across the UK that offer a variety of services, some offering both hard and soft services. So by hard and soft services, I'll explain the types of services that fall into those categories a bit later. And some that do a hard FM service only, which is the sort of engineering bias backgrounds. So we are right across the UK, from the Scottish counties down to the southern counties as well. And we're always looking to help and support other hospitals and get business elsewhere. So it's a constant changing platform for Serco, where we're looking to grow our health business and always looking for innovation, etc., into the business, and therefore doing the same exactly with people we recruit. We want people who are forward looking, innovative, and want to work for Serco and do the best they can for our clients and services. One question I did see pop up a minute ago is, do we get the same benefits as the NHS? We don't take part in the NHS pension scheme, but there are benefits to working for Serco. So it's a Serco pension scheme. That there are other benefits to working in Serco. I'm sure my HR colleagues will give you a bit more information on that later in the presentation, because they'll have a bit more detail than I will. If we can move to the next slide, please. So this is just an overview of the sort of scales we're talking for some of the services we provide. So Switchboard, over 6 million calls answered, 12.9 million meals served, 1.4 million square meters cleaned, and 2.6 million patient moves. So that covers sort of all of the soft services and types of roles that we've got there, and quite a large scale operation and coordination piece that needs to sit behind this, to make sure that those on the front line patients are getting the best experience of probably what is a bad and tough situation for them to be in. Thank you. If you can move to the next slide. So we'll watch a short video in a minute, but these are the primary services that we cover. So we've got food, catering services. We're providing meals to patients. The porters are transporting patients between different wards, scans, etc., either via chairs or beds. We've got housekeeping services that do all of the cleaning on the wards, and the help desk and switchboard that coordinate all the calls to site, and also pick up any of the reactive maintenance elements that, if something's broken and the ward's called down, they'll pick up those calls and make sure that they're categorized appropriately so they get allocated to the team. Security on site, we do all the security to the site and manage the waste. Compliance to legislative requirements. We have an administration team that supports all of those services in the background. Yes, porters come under Serco. They're all Serco employees. I can talk a little bit in detail, because obviously the porters have a variety of different roles. They're not just transporting patients. They might be doing medical gas transportation. They might be doing transportation of other things. So, for example, testing up to pathology. We have got pod systems, etc., on site that do some of that as well. So the porters are a really useful team that do a little bit of everything and support everything in the background in the hospital, and are key to the operation of the hospital. If anyone wants any detail or to be put in contact, there is portering roles and vacancies, etc., that we can talk about later. Building fabric, so this is primarily carpenters looking after the painting, decoration, all of the cabinets and kitchen fittings, the doors, etc. We've got an electrical and mechanical team dealing with not only just low voltage, domestic type, commercial type, single phase and three phase, but at the hospital we've got lots of variety of interesting services, from uninterruptible power supplies, UPSs, isolated power supplies, again, things that are unique to healthcare and specific requirements. Sorry, just reading chats as I go through.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Did you want to answer that now, Bill? We can come to the end if not.
Yeah, I'll keep going for now, and I'll talk about the applications, etc., in a bit. The electrical and mechanical. So yeah, the electrical, we've got a variety of interesting services that are unique to healthcare and you wouldn't find on an MOD base and things like that. But you go above and beyond because you're there to protect the patient. So you've got a number of services there that are life critical that as part of an engineering team you look after. And not only is it low voltage, you've got a high voltage network that comes in at 11,000 volts that supports the whole infrastructure behind the scenes as well. So we've got authorized person duties, etc., that support that bigger piece. And on the mechanical front, again, it's not just small domestic stuff that you see on the front line, your sinks, your basins, your toilets, etc. Behind the scenes, you've got a number of larger pieces of plant, 4 big boilers that support site, run at medium temperature hot water, that then go to low temperature hot water heat exchangers, etc. So there are a number of complex services that as an apprentice or as an engineer, you'd be learning that may be unique to healthcare and something you wouldn't ordinarily come across in everyday commercial settings. And of course, we've got a projects team that then supports all of those changes and developments that come into site. So anything that happens on site that's a change, dropping porter cabins on site to allow moves, new X-ray equipment, new MRI equipment, new chillers going on the roofs, boiler replacements, etc. It's a constantly changing environment. And if any of you are lucky enough, or well, not lucky enough to be on site for any medical reasons, but lucky enough to be in the area and on site and walking around, you'll see a lot of activity going on site, particularly over the next couple of years, where there's a number of new builds going up. It's a very exciting time for the hospital. Could we play the video at the top corner, please?
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you. It's just a quick break from me talking, and gives you a visual representation of some of our colleagues at Barts Hospital doing what they do best, and all the different services we provide. So again, another quick break from me talking and to basically get some thoughts from you guys and get you to think about the scale of the work we do here at Great Western. So how many repair tasks do you think we get per month? So we've got A, 50 to 80, B, 250 to 450, C, 800 to 1,000, or D, 1,250 to 1,500. If you wouldn't mind putting that in your chat boxes as guesses, we can see what everyone thinks.
Awesome, thanks guys. Yeah, so do put A, B, C or D, depending what you go for, and we will have a look at what the majority are going for. Seeing quite a few Bs that have popped in, some Cs. I do feel like it's quite mixed from B, C and Ds. Just give you another minute or so, guys, to get your answer in, and then it all shall be revealed. Cs. Any further answers, pop them in now before we reveal. I do think now we've had quite a few C's actually that have come in. Who's going to be telling us the answer?
I think if you select the answer from what Nathan set up on the presentation, it should highlight the correct answer, if all's working okay.
Yeah. Awesome, yeah. Well done, guys, for those of you that said C.
Yep, so C, 800 to 1,000 reactive tasks, and that's everything from, damage, decorating, sockets, a whole range of different activities. So we've got between 5 and 6 electrical, 5 and 6 mechanical, and similar number of fabric engineers. So in total, we're a team of between 30 frontline maintenance-facing engineers, and then we've got management behind that and projects team that sit behind it, make us a team of about 40. So the next question we've got is scheduled PPM tasks. So these are tasks, PPMs are pre-planned maintenance. So this is undertaking your statutory maintenance tasks that you have to do, the fire alarm testing, your fire door checks, etc. All of those kind of tasks that you have to do to prove that the facility is safe to be in. So how many PPMs do you reckon we get through a month? If you could do a similar exercise and put A, B, C or D in the chat, then we'll go and see what answers we come up with.
Okay, well done, guys. Thanks for your input. Okay, we're getting quite a few Bs that I'm seeing. Any advances on B? A couple of As, some Ds. I think the majority are going with B. So I'll give you another minute, guys, to get your answers in. Any more? Yeah, some more Bs. Okay, right. Are we ready for the answer? Let's go for it. Oh. Oh. We might have to reveal the answer there, Will.
So the answer is B, 500. So it looked like the majority of people got the answer correct on that one. So well done, everybody. As you can see, it's quite a significant number across the years, and you know those vary in complexity and size. It might be 1 ppm that tells you to maintain doors in a particular area, so there might be a few hundred doors under 1 ppm. So some of these ppms, although you know 500 may seem a lot or may not seem a lot, some of them are quite involved and take quite a bit of time to do, and quite a bit of skill and training specific to the type of task you're undertaking. Move to the next slide, please. So the next slide is a nice visual representation of some of the exciting things that have happened in probably the recent 12 months. So working from your top left, you've got a picture of a HV transformer, and the first 4 pictures there all relate to the same project where the trust has installed a CHP, which is a combined heat and power unit. The purpose of a combined heat and power unit is it runs on gas and produces electricity to site, basically taking load from the grid so that you're supplying locally. And the benefit to that is the waste heat generated from the electricity generation goes to support the heating and hot water system in the hospital. So in essence, you're saving money by generating electricity locally and gaining additional benefits from your heating, etc., that's provided by the unit. So your second picture along there, you've got your HV cables that then come into your main incoming substation at 11,000 volts. Your third picture along there is just after the CHP has been craned in. And the fourth picture is where the CHP is being moved across from the energy centre into position. Your fifth picture there, you've got one of the small plate heat exchangers that are in one of the plant rooms that feed medium temperature to low temperature hot water. And you've got similar setups across 7 plant rooms in GWH and 1 in BTC. Your lower pictures, you've got, I think that's a chiller being craned up onto the roof. Again, large pieces of kit that support the whole hospital. And again, the fourth picture along is the same chiller that we were replacing in year. The second picture along relates to a project where we supported the whole hospital on temporary boilers. So we had to install brand new heating pipes out to the temporary boilers of significant size. And then the third picture along there is a UPS, and although it looks small and like it wouldn't do very much, that supports all of the uninterruptible power supplies in the Great Western Hospital, that supports all of the life support, all of the sockets of a critical nature that keep patients you know, living when they're not well and at their worst, so that they supply critical areas like ICU, SCBU, etc. SCBU being the special care baby unit and ICU being intensive care units. And the end picture there is one of our workshops after it's been recently upgraded. So we're constantly investing in our teams and the tools, etc., and the environment that our teams sit in. So that's the carpenters workshop and our carpentry team. And that workshop's been recently upgraded. We've also done the electrical workshop and the mechanical workshops to follow. So that's just showing you some of the happy faces of our team. If we can move to the next slide, please. So I'd like to talk a little bit about some of the apprenticeship roles that we've got on site in the Great Western for Serco. So we are currently opening up recruitment for 2 healthcare engineering technicians, which is basically a new multi-skilled electrical mechanical role. So traditionally you'd either go into one electrical or mechanical, and what we're trying to do is get in a multi-skilled engineer base rather than one or the other. which I think is the way forward, and the way industries are working now is they're always trying to get teams, so that if you can do more than one thing, then you can, use your team more effectively. And the type of things that you'll be, learning through that, you'll be doing your 18th edition. For your electrical testing, you'd be doing your basic, plumbing skills, domestic plumbing skills, working up to commercial plumbing skills, and then getting on to your more specialist healthcare systems. And again, learning to work in a hospital environment that's slightly different to working in a normal environment, where you need to go and see the right people to get permissions to isolate, to make safe, to then remediate, etc. So it's a very different environment to work in, and it's a very exciting time with a very new apprenticeship that's come in. And then we're looking to recruit one apprentice building fabric technician that's basically around carpentry and supporting the fabric team. So you'll be learning things about decorating cabinets, kitchen surfaces, etc. And your fire doors, which is again a specialism and a specialist course, your fire dampers, your fire stopping, etc. So again, another exciting opportunity for someone that's interested in that type of trade, and something we'd like to see, hopefully, some applicants from today's session who are interested in that, and obviously we're happy to talk around that. So those roles are imminently going live by the end of the month. And yes, they are based at Swindon. Thank you. So we've also got entry-level roles. So this is roles that don't necessarily have you don't necessarily need to have a core engineering background to undertake them. All of the training, etc., can be provided on site. So we're currently recruiting for 2 fabric and fire craftsperson. And again, the fire and fabrics craftsperson is more of a training into role, and you do specific courses around fire damper maintenance, you do specific courses around fire stopping, etc. Then gives you the competence to do that. As we're looking to bring in-house that type of testing that we currently outsource at the minute. So again, anyone that's interested in an entry-level role, something they can train into, and there's always opportunities for those that are interested in doing those roles, in expanding and doing apprenticeship style training on site once you're on site. Whether it be evening classes, etc., we'll always support people to develop and do more if it supports the core business. So those are sort of entry-level roles in respect to the hard services. So we've also got a number of soft services roles currently advertised or coming up as well. Again, the portering roles, again, all training can be provided. It is primarily a patient-facing role, so it's all about communication and understanding what patients are going through, and giving them the dignity and respect as you transport them between areas. Your help desk roles, again, where you're providing administrative function and taking calls, your front of house representing as contractors come in, and as members of the public and staff coming, and also ensuring that things get put onto the computer systems electronically so that the other services can function. And housekeeping roles, again, these type of roles, porters, help desk, housekeeping, quite often that you'll see the odd couple of roles come out relatively frequently. So even if you're not successful in the first round, or you are interested in these roles, always keep a lookout, because there are always requirements for these type of roles. There are always people retiring, moving on into different roles, progression into different roles, into management roles, etc. And everyone that takes on these roles, by no means don't think that they are the end of your career once you're in a help desk role, once you're in a porter role, once you're in a housekeeping role. There's always progression through the organisation, no matter where you start your career at Serco. So you might end up starting as a cleaner or a porter. You progress into a portering manager or housekeeping manager. We'll always provide the training to get you up. And there are many people that end up in senior positions in our organisation that have started at an entry-level role because they have the experience of doing those roles. They are often best placed to actually understand how the business should work, compared to people that come in from fresh from university degrees, etc. They don't have that first-hand experience, and because they're coming in at a higher level quite often, they're unlikely to get the same experience. So, you know, there's no reason if you start on an entry-level role, you wouldn't develop, and we wouldn't support you to develop through additional training during your time here, or during your time with Serco anywhere else, to get that qualification, etc., to move you up to the next level. So, you know, those that are keen, those that are willing, those that put in 100% all the time get recognised, and we make sure. So we've got recognition awards, etc., for people that do that, and you know, supported by the trust to pick out people that really do go above and beyond and show the true Serco values. Next slide, please. So the next slide is engineering bias. Again, this is my core discipline, so I'm far better talking about these things than I am most other things. So this shows the progression really through an engineering bias, and you know, a maintenance assistant is someone that comes in who isn't necessarily got any qualifications or skills to their name, and they support the other trades. But again, like the apprentice, there's no reason they can't pick up skills. We can send them on courses, etc. And we've had a number of technicians over the years that have made it up to electrical or mechanical engineer, and then they can progress on to an engineering technician, which is someone with a bit more skill and training beyond a general engineer. And then from there, we have people that have gone from an engineer into an engineering supervisor and an engineering manager. On Serco, we do internal apprenticeships as well for management, so climb, etc., where people can then do management specific qualifications to help them move up through the ranks in Serco. Again, they're always on offer, and you know, the take up is always great for those. So, you know, people who want to progress in Serco can do. And again, you've got that option to enter as a graduate, and I think we've got a graduate apprentice coming on site this year from straight out of university. So there are options for those that do come from university to come and support the business and come in and learn the business afresh. But I may be biased, and I always think that apprentices know the business from the ground up, and they've done the job. That's just me personally, being an ex-apprentice myself. So again, we've got a number of people that progressed up to technical officers, technical managers. You can see I'm head of estates now, so I've come exactly through this type of progression map, through not necessarily through Serco, but through different organisations, through great support, through great managers who have seen potential and happy to support and develop me when I've needed it. So that is my aim, and my mantra to my team is make sure that I give them the same opportunities that I've been afforded myself. And of course, then we've got technical directors that sit centrally in Serco and support the overarching healthcare business. And they tend to have degrees, etc. So I've just gone through a degree myself with Serco. So again, that shows the willingness to invest in our people. And again, you can end up at contractor director level, which is where George sits. Next slide, please.
Thanks so much, Will. So back to me. Carry on using the chat, guys. We will hopefully get around all the questions. I appreciate we've only got 7.5 minutes left, so we're going to do our best to get through the rest of the slides and answer as many questions as possible. They are intermediate to advanced apprenticeships. There are higher apprenticeships for post A levels. You can get a general role at Serco through the careers website. It doesn't always have to be an apprenticeship role, and the business will best do their best to upskill you. So I've just enrolled on a operational departmental management apprenticeship, which is a level 5 apprenticeship. So once you start with Serco, even in a role that's not an apprenticeship role, you will do our best to upskill, as Will said. And how long is the shortest apprenticeship? Apprenticeships generally are between about 18 months to 24 months. If you're doing an engineering apprenticeship, it looks more like 36 months, so about 2.5 years. Catherine would probably be able to give you a bit more detail on that. And then I think the final question was, is there, oh, I've lost it. I think I've just answered all of them. Yeah, I think I've answered all of them. So I did want to cover our inclusion network. So as Will said, our business thrives on people, and it thrives because of a talented and diverse workforce. So we really want to be an employer that all colleagues have the opportunity to grow and succeed. And after all, we're a business built on people, so we're only as good as them people. It's really important that those people come to work being themselves with the appropriate tools and adjustments to help them succeed. So launched and led by colleagues, the Inclusion Hub is a collective of employee networks that stimulates constructive conversations, promotes inclusive practices, and helps the business better understand not only our colleagues and the people we work with, but also the communities that we serve, and the makeup of the diversity within the communities that we serve, and also contributes, the Inclusion Hub contributes to the delivery of our D&I strategies within the business. So just to run through the 4 networks very quickly, Serco Embrace is our multi-ethnic network that celebrates the differences in our cultures, ethnicities and backgrounds. In at Serco is our LGBT network, ensuring that our colleagues feel secure and supported coming to work, whichever gender identity or sexual orientation that they have. And really educates the business to support those colleagues and communities. Serco Inspire is the voice of our women at Serco, and making sure that we're breaking down then gender pay gaps, then gender barriers, and making sure that all female talent has the opportunity to grow and succeed within the business, and moving those female talent into middle management and leadership positions. And also breaking down barriers such as women in IT and women in engineering, and making sure that we can get more diversity and break them cultural barriers and perceptions into those roles. I've been talking far too long. The Serco Unlimited network is the network that has recently achieved its disability employer leadership status. It's for our colleagues with disabilities, removing barriers, changing perceptions, encouraging fair recruitment practices, and celebrating the differences that we all have, and making sure that our colleagues have the ability to succeed and thrive in the role with the appropriate adjustments that they'll need, both from an interview perspective or even in the roles themselves. So that's our Inclusion Hub. We'll just move on very briefly to application and what apprenticeship applications look like at Serco. Some of you might not have been applying for roles before. You might be new to the world of work, so I thought it would be really helpful just to go through from a first-hand perspective from somebody in recruitment, to talk you through what kind of is the process getting offered a job at Serco. So you'll find all our apprenticeship roles advertised on Serco Careers. We also post our jobs on Indeed and other platforms. So you'll see them spread across the internet once we do go live with the roles. It should be a short application form where you'll upload a CV and or a covering letter if you choose to do so. Once you've completed the application form, you'll be sent an online assessment that should take 30 minutes, about 3 online assessments. These are really relating to the role that you've applied for, and they should take no longer than 30 minutes. They don't really tend to be too difficult. They're more seeing where you're at and your abilities across a range of skills. If you're successful at that stage in the process, then we'll invite you to a one-way video assessment. This really takes advantage of new technology within the world of recruitment. You'll answer a series of 5 competency-based questions, and you'll respond to those questions into a webcam, and we'll review them videos and score based on your responses, your verbal responses. And then should you be successful, then you'll be a selection of individuals who have who will achieve a competency-based interview, which will be a formal interview with the hiring manager to really discuss the position further, make sure that it's the right role for you, and make sure that and make sure that you're the right individual with the right values for the business. And should you be successful, then you'd be offered a role. So it's a 3-stage process: application form, online assessment, one-way video interview, and then a virtual interview or a face-to-face interview with your future line manager. Seeing the couple of questions in the chat, we could probably go to the next slide, but I'll do my best to answer some of these. Minimum age requirements for applying for a role is obviously the statutory government requirement, which is 16. For your first job, what are the main skills and qualifications you are looking for? We are really agnostic in our approach. The reason why we moved our recruitment to ability tests is we really wanted to move away from looking at people's previous qualifications and work experience and move more towards people's ability, agility, aptitude, and motivation to learn. Apprenticeships are usually individuals' first role if somebody's moving out of school or college. So it's really important that we're opening apprenticeships up to all individuals and giving everyone a really fair opportunity to get on an apprenticeship and achieve a role with Serco. Main skills and quals, we're trying to move away from looking at them, if I'm honest, and we're looking more at your ability on the assessment tests that you'll do online.
I can see Lewis has been answering some of the questions, but we can come to, for the last, well.
Yeah, I think we've got one. Do Serco do more healthcare roles or other roles like engineering? We absolutely do engineering roles. All our business units, as I discussed earlier on in the presentation, they all require facilities management. So whether it be a prison or a RAF base, I know we've got driving roles for those of you who might be attaining a driving license soon. We've got driving roles in our RAF bases, military bases that we run, and lots of exciting roles. Probably best, we recruit for about 600 roles across the business, all the way up to exec and leadership level roles. So it's best to look on our careers website, which is on the screen now. So serco.com/UK, and then if you put another slash and careers, you'll be able to search for all our roles on our website.
It's also worth just adding there that there is another Serco site in the Swindon area, so the Defence Academy, Shrivenham, just down the road. So if any of you are interested in, instead of a healthcare environment, MOD style environment, and again, they have engineering roles, they have soft FM roles, entry level roles, etc., of a different nature. So again, that's another one of our sister sites just down the road.
Just one more question. I don't know whether we've got time. I appreciate it's 18 minutes past, so we'll have this as the last one. Most challenging aspect of the application process. We're trying not to make it too challenging. I'd say probably the ability tests. Or it depends what you find more hard. Some people really do really well on online ability tests. You're given all the instructions beforehand on the screen on how to perform best at those on both. What I will send around a YouTube link to a video that we've just created on the application process for apprenticeships. So I'll send that across to Catherine. She can disseminate that between all the audience. Ability test does include a verbal reasoning and numerical reasoning test, either or, and I think that takes about 12 minutes.
Perfect. Thanks so much, students, for your great questions, and Nathan, Lewis, Will and George, the team at Serco, for great insight and overview. And students, we will be able to share the slides with you and any links that have been provided on the session, so don't worry. And if you have any further questions, do let us know. We can feed that back to Serco. But thanks so much. Great insight in terms of the amazing roles that are on offer. And guys, it is now lunch